blockchain is by far one of the most promising industries for developers in 2022. It's one of the highest paying fields in tech with an average salary of $154,000 per year. The demand is absolutely insane. But if you want to land one of these jobs, then you need the skills to pay the bills. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the top 5 highest paying jobs for blockchain developers and break down what the skills are so that you can land one of these jobs and talk about how you can learn those skills. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So a quick background about me if you're new around here. I'm a self-taught programmer. I didn't go to school for computer science. I got rejected from coding bootcamp, and I taught myself from scratch all the way to a senior level and beyond. And I've helped thousands of people learn real-world blockchain skills, from square one. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to master blockchain step-by-step from start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. All right, so like I was saying at the top of this video, blockchain is one of the highest paying skills in tech. You can see here that it has a national average salary of $154,000 per year inside the United States, okay? This might vary depending on where you live. Might vary from website to website. But if you compare blockchain to other fields on the same websites, like mobile developer, which is an average salary of $75,000 per year, this is web developer, or mobile developer, which is $105,000 per year, then blockchain's twice as lucrative as web development and 50% more lucrative, roughly speaking, than mobile development. So the point here is that blockchain is one of the highest paying fields in tech. And when you're looking at this average salary, sometimes this falls into multiple different skills. And so I want to break this particular field down and talk about what are some of the highest paying skills within this entire niche itself and what you need to know in order to get one of those jobs and how to learn it. All right, so now let's jump into the highest paid jobs. I'm not going to rank these in terms of like what the exact number one is. So number one is just going to be the one that I think is most in demand, which is Solidity development, okay? So I'm going to talk about what you need to know in order to do that, but let's just do a quick sampling of real Solidity developer job posts. So I just got on Indeed.com, typed in Solidity developer, clicked remote, and here's the results right here. So I'm not going to go through and cherry pick a bunch of stuff. I'm just going to pick through some of the first ones and look at realistic, jobs that are out there and what they pay and what they require. So, Solidity developer, this is fully remote, $75,000 to $144,000 a year. So let's just say you're kind of somewhere in between. This could easily be a 6-figure job. How much experience does this require? Because people are going to say, hey, $154,000 average salary, but you need experience to get to that level. So this is only asking for 1 year of Solidity experience. Now, I'll give you a hint. Every time a job says, it requires X amount of experience, that can be negotiable for someone who really has good skills. I'm not just telling you that as just, from anecdotal evidence and watching other people do this. I'm saying that because I've been on every side of the problem. I've been a freelancer. I've been a regular developer who's trying to get a job. And now I hire developers. Okay. And so, I have a certain amount of criteria that I want in finding somebody, but all those things are negotiable if they're the right candidate for the job. And so you could very well, have something like this with less experience if you were able to do that. So we'll talk about how to learn the skills later in this video. So next is going to be a smart contracts developer for Solidity. Okay, this is $100,000 to $200,000 a year. So let's say you're in the middle of that. That's right in the middle of the average. So this is asking for, it just says experience, someone with experience. It doesn't say how much experience. So this could be negotiable. All right. And then the last one here is senior Solidity developer, $200,000 to $300,000 a year. So this is for somebody with 3 years of Solidity experience and 7 years of professional developing. So this is somebody for 5 years of experience, okay? But specifically down here, it says only needs 3 years of Solidity experience. And again, that's even probably negotiable because Solidity is not that old of a language. And if you're really good and provide value, you can very likely do this job without that amount of experience. All right, so let's talk about what you need to know in order to do one of these jobs. So you definitely need to learn Solidity. So this is a primary language, for writing smart contracts, primarily for the Ethereum blockchain, but then you can deploy this to any, Solidity environment, EVM compatible environment, like, Avalanche, Binance Smart Chain, any Ethereum layer 2. There's a massive growing ecosystem of EVM compatible chains. And many of them work about the same if you're writing Solidity, okay? So you want your core skill set to be that, and you're going to be creating smart contracts. So you want to be able to create smart contracts and understand the intricacies of doing that. So like you need to master the programming language. Okay. You need to understand things like optimizing for gas, understand security pitfalls whenever you're writing smart contracts. You want to be able to really write good tests for smart contracts. You'll probably need an additional programming language that allow you to do that. Some people write tests in Solidity. The vast majority of people do it in either JavaScript or Python. And then you're going to increase your hireability if you can, write other apps that actually talk to smart contracts, whether it's front-end websites, so you can just create some sort of interface to interact with the smart contract, or maybe some sort of back-end application that can do that, or just some scripts in general that'll let you, demonstrate the behavior of smart contract and provide some value in a way that you couldn't just do it by clicking buttons on Remix or something like that. And so what kind of tasks would you be building, or maybe what kind of apps would you be building? So primarily people are building a lot of things around decentralized finance or DeFi. So definitely understanding how cryptocurrencies work, ERC20 tokens, how DeFi applications work with liquidity pools, any financial instrument that's trying to be built with Solidity on the blockchain, how DAOs work, how NFTs work. There's a ton of people trying to build NFT marketplaces, NFT products, do other things with NFTs beyond digital collectibles. And so understanding the current set of use cases for smart contracts is really going to increase your value when you're trying to get one of those jobs too, because that's probably what you're going to be doing. All right, so the next highest paying job on this list, again, it's not in any particular order, it's just one of these high paying jobs, is the blockchain protocol engineer or core developer, okay? So I'm going to put those terms together because they mean slightly different things, but I want to clarify what they mean. So mostly, we're talking about Solidity smart contracts, you're going to be developing the programs that run on the blockchain themselves. But if you're a core developer or protocol developer, you're going to be developing, in many cases, system processes that talk to blockchains, or maybe even the software that runs blockchains themselves, okay, like the actual blockchain clients, as opposed to smart contracts. Now, you might have to do some stuff with smart contracts, but your focus is going to be on these things. So let me give you some examples, because this can be tricky. Whenever you talk about a protocol developer, that could mean somebody who builds a DeFi protocol on top of, a blockchain out of Solidity, right? You can just put it on blockchain and that's your protocol. But I'm going to put that under the Solidity developer umbrella. And as a different protocol, really as a blockchain core developer, you might be talking about protocols like cross-chain bridges, for example. These rely on some sort of client in the middle that talks to different blockchains. You might have to create something that does that, or maybe something like Thorchain, where you're doing cross-chain swaps between Bitcoin and Ethereum, or anything that is a client that actually runs blockchain architecture itself, like a node that's part of, the Ethereum blockchain, et cetera, et cetera. That's the example of what I'm talking about here. So let's see, some job postings on this and what you need to understand in order to do that. So, at no particular order, I'll just pull up some random ones here. So you can see here, this is one looking for 5+ years of experience in software development or relevant. Okay. So one thing you need to notice about a lot of protocol developers is this is usually a harder thing to get into in terms of the learning curve. That's why most people who are beginners, I push them towards something like Solidity development or other types of blockchain development, because it's a relatively easy programming language to learn in the grand scheme of things. The number of things you have to understand is smaller. And this is, in many cases, a lot harder. It's more abstract, but it's still incredibly in demand and therefore pretty lucrative. So 5+ years of experience in this. I'm going to post some other random job postings here. So zero knowledge, cryptographer, and protocol developer. So basically, what would you need to know in order to do this? Prior experience with cryptographic protocols, especially ZK Snarks, ZK Starks. Okay, they're not specifically required. Prior experience in low-level system programming, ideally with Rust. Okay, so Rust is a skill. We're actually going to talk about Rust here in a minute, but I'm going to keep this under the protocol developer and core developer section. Here's another one, protocol developer. Okay, so this is a DeFi protocol for simple, capital-efficient, native cross-chain synthetic assets. So like I was talking before, building some sort of bridge in between blockchains that lets you move in between different blockchains. You'd be working on that particular protocol here. So they do stable coin collateral, capital efficiency, native bridging, and multi-collateral support. Where basically it sounds like you could lock up cryptocurrency on one blockchain and then maybe borrow stable coins or other assets on the other chain against that collateral that you've locked up. Okay. So what would you do? Basically, you need to understand general blockchain experiments with Ethereum test tools. So You're likely going to be writing maybe some Solidity in this case, but you're likely going to have to know whatever the coding languages they are to write the clients that actually interact with these different types of things. At least that's what I would learn if I wanted to get a job like this.